Hey YouTube, it's Dorian. I'm going to do something a little different today. I'm going to check out Zorin OS, but all I've done is read the website. I've never used it before. I know it's been around for a while. I've heard of it several times. I know it's been around for 10 years, roughly. So all I've done is skim through their website, and I read a little bit about why Zorin OS. And yeah, I figured maybe this will be a little different. Maybe it'll be a little more interesting. I'll just go from scratch here and see what happens. So I've cloned my template virtual machine. I put in the disk. It's only 4 megs of RAM. Let me bump that up to 8. And we'll give it a shot. So I'm pretty sure, yes, and I can see by this icon here, it is Ubuntu based, but it uses a Windows-like interface. So they're trying to make it more user-friendly to people coming from Windows, or perhaps they're just using Windows as a nice jumping off point because people are so familiar with it. So I'm not sure how it's going to be for someone coming from Windows, or coming from Linux, sorry. I do use Windows, of course, at work. I have it installed on my system so I can do certain work. Working with databases, especially when you use a lot of forms and whatnot, there's not a really good alternative that is as good as Microsoft Access. And it's just the truth. I've tried a lot of different things. So we've booted up now, and you can tell by the welcome screen here, it's very Ubuntu. Try and install. So I'm going to try it, and then I'll install it. So this looks like GNOME here at the top. Oh, looks like we've bumped back into console. Maybe not. Still thinking. Not sure. There we go. So that looked on the first screen very much like a GNOME bar. So what do we have here? This is GNOME. I'm pretty sure this is GNOME. So they've got typical Windows-like look. You've got your system tray here with, GNOME. I'm guessing this will bring up the GNOME settings window. And your clock. Yeah, so this is GNOME. So I'm guessing what they've done is they have some extensions that move the bar down and adds your shortcuts. There's a lot of extensions you can have to make it look like this. And then using a desktop, change background, using a different desktop manager? No, maybe not. All right, well, let's have a look here. So files, this is very, very flat. Again, this is the first time I'm seeing it, honestly. Very white, very flat, but that's okay. Uses Geary here, which I like. I personally use Geary the most, and comes with Chromium. So here looks like one of the app launcher extensions. So let's just see if they have the tweak tools installed. Zorin Appearance. Okay. Well, I might as well have a look at this while we're here. Zorin Appearance. Different layouts. Okay, so here now we're back to the old school GNOME look. So this looks like a custom piece of software here. You can choose if you want your icons on the desktop or not. So this probably deactivates, yes, the file manager so that you're getting the regular GNOME right-click menu. Turn this back on. And what is this that they use? It's just GNOME files. Okay. Themes. Lots of themes. I want dark, this color. The bar's not changing down here. I don't know if it's supposed to. I can only assume that if I were to log out and log in, that this will change, or I could do, since it's GNOME, Alt F2, R, and this will restart the desktop. And nope, that didn't change. So I guess the two colors here just mean your main color, and then your highlight color is at the bottom. So this bottom bar doesn't represent the taskbar. So you want the white and green, white and blue, so on. Okay, moving on, fonts, panel. So yeah, you customize it to go back on top. So this looks like an extension that perhaps they did. I usually look all this stuff up, right? And then I'm recording this and presenting you guys with the information that I already have, but like I said, I'm doing something a little different here. So Zorin OS 12. Anything else? This is just the typical GNOME details window. Did they add anything else? Zorin appearance would be this. Anything else that they added? Firewall, that's not normal. Maybe this is GUFW, and it looks like it is. Version 16.04.1. This is a nice firewall for, I mean, you don't need a firewall in Linux. Don't quote me on that. Don't not get a firewall just because I said that, but if you're more worried about it, if you're running a server environment, maybe you want a firewall. This is a nice simple one that you could have for your home system. Works really well, easy to use. And let's have a look at their software. So accessories, activity journal, what is this? Activity journal, what can I put in here? I'm not sure what this does. Switch to timeline view. It seems cool, but I don't know what you use it for. Maybe it's linked into the calendar. So this is something that I will look into and do a part 2. Okay, moving on. Standard calculator, photo, text editor, weather, games, got a couple of games, your usual card games, Mahjong, Minesweeper. We've got GIMP, and looks like LibreOffice is also installed. Zorin web browser, manual. Let's see. Oh, I see. Manager. It's cut off there. You can't really see it. So yeah, you can install and remove browsers here, which is pretty cool. I'm guessing I can just do this. No, I can't see applications. I want to see applications. I could type them in, but I can't browse. Okay, that's fine. We'll just continue on this. Office, LibreOffice, like I said. Oh, I skipped sound and video. So it uses videos, no VLC, which is fine. But I personally don't use that. System tools. So you've got your Deja Dupe backups, disks, gparted, install Zorin, software and updates. So a lot of your Ubuntu usuals, right? So stuff that you get with Ubuntu. screenshot terminal, which I'm going to check out, and Wine. It comes with Wine. Comes with Play on Linux, actually, so that's pretty cool. Play on Linux, if you've never used it, is great for installing Windows programs and games. It's got a library of what programs will work. This will probably take a bit for it to load up the initial list here. But when you install something, this will take a little bit. It's got the list, right? So if you have a certain Windows program, it's probably already in this list. And if you've used it, you know it's not that big of a deal. You can do it manually in Wine, but this is really cool if you don't really know how to configure Wine and you're kind of relying on other people to do it for you. So it sets up a library of rules and tweaks to make specific programs work. It's definitely easier than doing it the old way, but that's if you use Windows programs at all. Really good for games. So if you're stuck with certain Windows programs you can't get away from, this is an option. Office, some of the newer Office versions don't work so well with Wine, but that's a whole other thing. So let me just have a look here. A couple things I want to check out. I want to check out the kernel, which is 4.13. So this would be based on Ubuntu 16.04 because Ubuntu 18.04 is now using kernel 4.13, or sorry, 4.15, and this is using 4.13. And I don't know if there's any Ubuntu evidence left over. There's Zorin ID like Ubuntu, yep. This, Zorin 12. Zorin. So yeah, so it is, where did I see it? ID like Ubuntu. It is based on Ubuntu, codename Xenial. So I should be able to do update. So you can see it's using the Xenial repositories, and they have their own repositories as well. So you should be able to install anything that Ubuntu has, and then on top of that, their own little bits of software. So I would like to see tweaks. So let's do tweak tool. Let's install that. Then I can see I'm interested in the extensions that they have installed. So with the tweak tool, if you've never used GNOME before, you can do some cool things and you can change the themes and whatnot. You can also change the themes here with the Zorin tool. But if you're using regular Ubuntu or regular whatever distribution and you're using GNOME, the tweak tool lets you do a lot of things, a lot of changes. So this is where you would change your themes, change your desktop settings, the top bar, which is in this case the bottom bar, different window things. Like I like to have middle click change to minimize, so that if I click on a window with the middle mouse button, it minimizes it. And extensions. So media player indicator. So if you're playing music or video, you'll get an indicator pop up in the system tray. Printers, removable drive menu, user themes. Here we go. Zorin Dash. So it does have settings, which look very much like, where is it? Is it like these? Position on screen, auto hide, dock size, launchers, behavior. Okay. So their dock, sort of like the dash to dock extension, but they've customized it a little bit. Zorin menu, Zorin panel, Zorin taskbar, Zorin tray. So all these things would be like this, and Zorin tray would be maybe it's not showing right now, or maybe it's this here. So you can pin and unpin things from your favorite. So the dash is just pushed down into the top bar, which is moved to the bottom. So it's a modified GNOME desktop environment, which is pretty cool. They made it their own. It's very Ubuntu. It's based on Ubuntu, so that's no surprise there. You can install anything that Ubuntu has, which is awesome because it's huge repositories. And it should be set up very similar file structure wise and whatnot. Like you can even see in your home folder the Play on Linux virtual drives, which will also be present if you install it in an Ubuntu based distro. So if you're coming from Linux, very familiar, very, very familiar. Just things are moved around a little bit. I assume the update tools and everything would be very similar. Let's see, they have a software. Is this the Ubuntu software? So this is Ubuntu software. So this is the standard Ubuntu GNOME Software Center. And you remove stuff, get your updates and whatnot. So pretty cool. The themes are nice. Maybe a darker theme. It's either black or white, right? Perhaps a gray theme would have been cool. I like this. If you watch my videos and you see all my pictures and everything on Twitter, I do like the green. The green and black looks pretty nice. Yeah, so if you're coming from Linux, it'll be very familiar. If you already use GNOME, it will be very, very familiar. Nothing popped up here. Actually, the dark makes some things look funny, but maybe it's just Play on Linux. Yeah, if you use GNOME, it will be very, very familiar because of all the similar applications. If you use GNOME on Ubuntu, this is going to be just like a modified Ubuntu GNOME, just things moved around a little bit more like Windows. I can definitely see how it would be much more familiar for a Windows user. You've even got your documents, shortcuts, and pictures and everything right up here on their start button. So pretty cool that. And this should start Ubiquity, which it does. Everything's very, this color scheme, very, very dark, and let's see if they removed the other themes. Go with, there we go. Something very familiar if you use GNOME Linux. So this is a little less extreme, but you have to install the GNOME tweak tools to be able to do this, because I don't even think that was an option. So yeah, pretty cool. If you're coming from Windows, this is definitely a really good option, especially if you enjoy the taskbar down here with your little start menu, your quick launch area, your start button. Definitely would recommend for a new user. And shutdown would be here. Power off. So yeah, really cool. It's been around for 10 years, and I think that the GNOME desktop is the only one that they use. I didn't see any alternatives. What's the delay here? Take it out of full screen. That's probably waiting for me to hit enter. Nope. All right, well, I'll just leave it like that for now. So yeah, Zorin OS is pretty cool. I would recommend it. It's something a little different. I use GNOME, obviously. You can see I'm using it now. So it's a different layout. I like the sidebar myself, but that's just me. If you like the Windows interface or you like the bottom taskbar, hey, give it a shot. You can even customize it. You can put it back to the top how you want. You can make it, put it back like GNOME, like the default settings. So it's cool. They have their own theming. They have their own software for theming and everything, which was really nice. So yeah, definitely check it out. And yeah, that was a bit different way of doing a review. I'd never seen it before, so I figured, hey, let's just dive into it and play with it. So as always, go over on Twitter, check me out at dorian.slash. I've got some stuff on there like baby lambs. And also, feel free to send me a few bucks over on Patreon. I'll put the links for both of these down in the description for the video. And until next time, guys, bash on.